Alright guys, so what I have here on the bucket of the skid loader is a very old tooth bucket, an oxyacetylene torch tank, and a tire. Now this stuff all came with this Bobcat back here. There's a listing on Facebook Marketplace for a free skid loader. I'll throw some pictures up on the screen now. So it was sitting in someone's backyard, fenced in with a vinyl fence that you couldn't take down. And in the back of his yard was a steep hillside with power line trails. So what I ended up doing was bringing this skid loader to fish it out and load it up. So what I had to do was cut a path in with it first, then I could drive my truck through. Then I was able to use this to drag it up the hill. So with it being a little bit of a drive away, I had to make a trip there with this, and then a trip back home with that, run back up with an empty trailer, and get the skid loader. So I did all that real late last night, finally got back, and I'm loading it now. This morning I went and got one of these LP gas tanks filled, because that's what this thing runs off of. It has a Mitsubishi gasoline engine. This is a Bobcat 742B. So the story that I got was he inherited it from, I think, his uncle or his dad. Someone who died gave it to him, and he had it just sitting in his residential backyard because he didn't want it to get scrapped or sold when the guy died. So he told me it's been sitting for 3 years. Seems about right. I think it'll run. I don't think it has a key, but it does have, I think it's got 3,500 hours on it. Yeah, no key. For nothing, well, just for the fuel cost of bringing that machine there, it's really not too bad. Alright, so I see minimal reason why this thing won't run. He told me he just parked it because it ran out of fuel. The oil still looks pretty good, and it's not too muddy in here. There's tools just sitting in the mud right there. I don't know if you guys can pick that up. That's cool. This thing isn't bad. I mean, like, the stickers are there. Yeah, and this hose doesn't look too bad, I guess. I don't know anything about LP gas stuff. I guess we'll have to check the air filter. Let's see if anything's in that. Coil. All the wiring looks decent. This isn't hooked up to anything. Well, we're gonna see what we can get going. So I dropped this control panel down where the key would go, and there's a rat's nest in there. Is cleaning up this wiring. I cleaned out the rat's nest, and I don't have too much electrical stuff here, but I just taped over some of the weird connections, and I did have to add a couple wires. I think this is going to be good enough just to get it to start, or just to see if it starts. But what I'm going to do now is I might try and get this back on the bead, maybe with starting fluid or something like that. But I'm going to throw a different battery in here, and it's got oil in it, so it should, be safe to run it. There's a flashlight down here. Like, you can't use stuff with tools laying around and moving. So I don't know what they were doing. There's a bunch of peanuts and stuff in here too. This one big battery. Well, it kind of fits. Look at that. Alright, it turns over. So now I'm gonna hook up the propane tank. Okay, so immediately when I went to hook up that propane tank, there was a leak coming from the thing that you screw into it, and then there was another leak at the hose down there. So pulled all the stuff off of it, the little cover, and so this piece might still be good, but it was leaking at the connector down here, which this went like down into the engine bay and then ran to the regulator. It's this, you know, stupid hose that's leaking, and then same with this guy, it was leaking up at where it goes into the tank. So gotta find a place that has this stuff near me. This piece might be okay though. Okay, this is something that you really can't make up. This takes years and years to happen. That's pleasant. 7/8 wrench, and this looks like an adjustable. Yep. Now what I'm gonna check is if there's power. So this is really weird. This is from the 90s, but it might have points. See, it has this resistor here on the coil, which usually means that there's points. This thing's got points. This thing's... Oh, and it's really rusty in there. Oh, that's not good. Okay, so this is what it looks like inside the distributor. Water was able just to come right down in here, and this is obviously not a watertight seal inside of this. And the points, man, you can see they're all corroded. Fortunately, as I look at this a little bit more, there might be enough on there to get a spark out of it, but I have to get 12 volts here first. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out some of this. I think I have the points clean enough. I used to file them. When you turn the key on, there is power up here, but I don't know if it's not getting to this or how it works. But when you put power to here, this clicks and you can kind of get the points to spark a little bit. So, if that makes any sense. I have two new hoses here, $130. The propane was $28, so we're in this under $200, obviously aside the diesel that it took to actually get it. Alright, so there you just saw we have spark. You can see that spark was more orange and not blue, but hey, maybe that'll get it to run. So I just have the regulators bolted loosely in here. All these new lines are together, so we'll see if it runs. Okay, so no matter how much starting fluid was sprayed in here, it would not start up. And then he put his hand over the intake and it seemed like it was pushing air out. So we took the timing belt cover off, and it seemed like it was out of time, so we lined it up to what Google said, and now we're gonna see if it will actually start. Double checking the marks now.
Oh, good call. Actually, you want to put the...
Yeah, let's just reconnect everything. Well, no, let's see if it'll idle. Stuff in my
No.
eyes.
Jump pack's on, as far as I can tell. And I'll reset it. Go ahead.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I would run it without the water pump. crazy is that, Ben? That's cool. That big for
So somehow from sitting, it jumped timing. So.
No, I bet you somebody messed with it.
You think?
Yeah.
He said it was just running, but who knows?
That belt wasn't loose, so.
Yeah. So who knows? So we're gonna put this all back together. I'll just light the tire.
Why did that pop it?
Hey, that's funny. It just like went.
Oh, it's like that.
Yeah.
I'll get this off.
Alright, so right now we're at the point where this thing will, start right up, do its thing, but it won't drive, and I don't think it has any hydraulic fluid in it. So I don't know how big of a deal that is, that it ran for probably collectively a minute. Alright, so now it has definitely enough hydraulic fluid. So. Man! She moved! Oh, this thing's got me. Oh, this is not I noticed a bunch of leaks up in the front of the boom. A lot of leaks. So I really want to pressure wash it, get a lot of the crap out. Okay, so as this thing sits right now, it is not running. It was running, then it stopped running, and it won't start back up. So I just had the wheel chalked because it was about to roll down the hill. But yeah, so I gotta look into that further. But it's got some pretty bad hydraulic leaks, so that is one thing that is not good. Okay, what we have here is an IMCO Model J. This was the, I guess you can call this the regulator on the machine. So what had happened is after I washed it yesterday, I moved it around the yard really quick and it just stopped running. It would crank and seem to try and fire but wouldn't, but it would run on starting fluid. But anyways, it just seemed like it was hardly getting any propane. So how this works is there's an inlet. Your propane inlet right here comes in, there's a vacuum line. I assume that vacuum line is kind of pulsing, and that's how it knows how much to send into here. Then there's 2 coolant lines. I don't know why that's there. And then here's the outlet that goes into the vaporizer carburetor. And if you look in there, it's like rusty and dirty. No fuel line should look like that on the inside, if you see that. And when I started the machine, or was trying to start the machine, I was trying to see if anything was coming out of here, and it seemed like nothing was coming out. And it had vacuum, so I am assuming that this unit is bad. Okay, so what I did was I went ahead and bought 2 new ones of these, and it was literally the same price to get these 2 without fittings as it was to get gaskets. To get everything with new fittings and a new bracket, which I just painted, it was like another 60 bucks. So we're saving money just by using some Teflon tape and, you know, a vise to get the fittings out. I'm just cleaning off the old Teflon tape, screwing in these new things. We'll be good to go. We can go back home, put this skid loader together, and honestly it should run and drive, you know, pretty good now. These are all together as one unit now. The only thing is this one, that's the outlet hose going into the carburetor vaporizer thingy. Not sure if that'll reach around to that because it goes towards the cab like this. We'll have to see. I just couldn't get it tight enough. It hit that lip where this other fitting screws on.